You've skied all day. What's for dinner today on Let's Cook? Hi, welcome to Let's Cook, where we are making a ski dinner. You know, I was away for a week. I went away with my family. We were skiing. We were up north of Montreal in Montreal. A little cold up there, but we went to a restaurant called Savoie. And I've been in Savoie, France, and in Savoie they do fondues and they do raclettes, and that's what we're doing today for our ski dinner. First thing we're going to do is a very simple cheese fondue. This is Swiss in origin. It's very easily done. You're going to use two different kinds of cheese. You're going to use Emmentaler cheese and Gruyere cheese, which is a Swiss-style cheese. The first thing that I'm going to do with my pot right here, non-reactive pot, is I'm rubbing it with a clove of garlic. Just impart that flavor. Then to this now, I'm going to put in some very good dry white wine. Additionally, a little bit of white pepper, a little bit of nutmeg, and you can also use kirsch if you'd like. Then we add our cheeses that are diced up, and all we're going to do is we're going to allow this to cook. And actually, when I was in France, let me just get my spoon here. When I was in France, and I had this, Xavier, the person that first made it for me, she used more wine than I have in here. As a matter of fact, let me just put a little bit more wine in here, okay, or even water. We're just going to let this cook down, just enough to cover it. She put this on a very low heat, and she just let it cook and cook and cook until you had this consistency right here, which I have in this pot right here. And you just stir it every once in a while. You don't want it to burn. You want a nice slow heat. So now my fondue is good to go. So what am I going to do with this fondue? I'm going to put it in my fondue pot, which I have right here. Make sure that when you put it in, you pour it in the bottom. Here, use a rubber scraper. Get this all in there. And then again, we're going to work the heat so it just barely sticks to the bread. This is a very simple cheese fondue we're doing here. This goes right here. I'm going to light this up. Let me get my starter right here. We're going to light this up. I never light it till beforehand because I don't want the bottom to be scorching hot when I put the cheese in. You have your fondue fork right here. Take your nice crusty bread. Everybody gets a plate. Everybody gets their own skewer. And all they do is they dip it in here. It coats the bread. You have maybe some cornichons, maybe some pickles, maybe a little bit of dried meat, prosciutto or salami. You can use any of those things. As a matter of fact, we're going to be doing them a little later with the raclette. Oh, delicious. The one thing about when you make the fondue is you might not like the smell that goes on in the kitchen, but the cheese does not taste like the smell at all. It's absolutely delicious. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you a fondue bourguignon. Plus, we're also doing a raclette. I'll show you what that means today on Let's Cook on our ski dinner. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are doing a ski dinner. And as I said in the opening of the show, I was away skiing, hence I have a little bit of facial hair. Keeps you warm while you're going down the slopes. And now we're doing a fondue bourguignon. Now, we did the cheese fondue right here, which we have right here, but we also, you can do what is known as a fondue bourguignon, and that's where you actually, at the table, fry breads and meats, or, I'm sorry, meats, pork, beef, chicken, and then you have different dipping sauces that you put into it. Let me just go over all the ingredients that we're going to use for this, okay? First of all, you have béarnaise sauce, which is pretty classical. Then you can do a barbecue sauce or a chili sauce, or one or the other combination. Then you have a chutney sauce. You can use cheese sauce. Then we have some chicken, some beef. The sour cream dressing and the fresh breadcrumbs actually to coat the fondue. So, first of all here, I have a beautiful steak here. And I'm going to use a really good cut of meat when I do this. And I'm also going to make sure that I trim off all of the fat and I'm going to cube it up. So we would take a steak like this. Even a tenderloin is very nice, but I prefer the flavor of a sirloin like this, or a New York steak. We clean this up here, get rid of all that fat. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to dice it up so that we have uniform sized pieces for deep frying. And again, I was at a restaurant in Mont-Tremblant called Savoie. I've been there before, and they do a classic raclette. They also do a classic fondue bourguignon. So then we would take a piece of meat or a piece of chicken like this. And you know what's really nice is a fondue set that I have here, which is a heavy gauge and it's made for frying, has different colors here because when you put your meat in there, you need to know which one is yours and which one is somebody else's. So they have, these are all color coded as far as whose fondue is who when you're frying them. Isn't that a great idea? Then we simply take a piece of chicken. You're going, and now you also remember if you use chicken, because you want to make sure the chicken is cooked well done, and beef you can cook medium rare. We take it, we dip it in a sour cream dressing or any type of dressing that you like. You dredge it in fresh breadcrumbs here. Then you drop it into the hot oil. Let that start to cook. Now, not everybody can throw it in there at the same time, because just like a fryer, you're going to give the oil time to recover, because as you cook with it, it's going to get cool. So if everybody throws it in at the same time, it's not going to stay hot enough. So you do this relatively slowly. Take this piece of beef right here. Now, I know the green one was the one that was in there before we started this segment, because I wanted to show you what it looks like when it's done. And for somebody who doesn't like cheese, but they like meat, this is great as far as a fondue, because they're going to end up having something that they like to eat. And again, it's a very hands-on thing. Okay, see my chicken? This is a piece of chicken that I started earlier. Then you would just take this chicken, you let it drain here a little bit. Oh, this is so good. Then we would just take a little plate like this. You have your skewer right here. Few sauces for dipping, okay? I'm going to use a little bit of curry here. Then I'll use a little bit of chili sauce right here. Oh boy. And then a little bit of béarnaise right there. Simply take the chicken now, right there. Dip it in the sauce of your choice. I'm going to use a little bit of the curry sauce right here. Remember, it's hot. Comes out very hot, so you want to let it cool down a little bit, but you have the sauces right there. Everybody's working. See, we've got our meat. It's frying here. It's not done yet. I think I'm going to munch on this while we go to break, and then when we come back, we're making a classic raclette. See what that means today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are talking about raclette, or a ski dinner. Now, raclette, the term raclette comes from the French word racler or racleur, which means to scrape, because what they do is you take a raclette cheese, which is a special rind, and the rind is engraved, and you can tell what village it's from. It's made from raw cow's milk. And what you do is, I have a raclette machine here that's made for household use, but if you go to a restaurant or you get a classic raclette, what they have is it's a wheel of raclette cheese made from raw cow's milk. It's set on an angle with the heat above it, almost like my hand here. And on this angle, as the cheese melts, it falls off onto a plate, and then you have your raclette cheese. Now, the way this got started is the Swiss cowboys, or the shepherds, would be up in the mountains with the cows, and that's the other thing, the raw cow's milk. Up in the Alps, because of what they're fed and what they eat, produces a distinctively flavored milk for the raclette cheese. But what the cowboys used to do is at night, they would take and have a fire there with the rocks there, and they'd have the half a wheel of cheese there, and the cheese would get warm and run off and melt. And it's been going on for hundreds of years, and that's how raclette actually got started. There are other ingredients that go with it that are pretty typical of what Swiss cowboys might be carrying with them. We have some raclette cheese here, but then we also have some different cured meats, whether it's bresaola or prosciutto or salami or any cured meats. Plus, you can, on my raclette machine right here, I have some meats that I'm also grilling, so that you can have bratwurst and knockwurst and kielbasa, any smoked cured meat. In addition to that, you have potatoes. usually boiled potatoes, just like this. And also pickled onions too, you know, the small pickled onions. But I have some boiled red, not red bliss here, but these are fingerling potatoes. And what I like to do is I'll show you how I like to set up my plate for the raclette. Of course, the potatoes are served hot and are boiled with the skins on. Again, this is a very rustic meal, but when you're skiing or you're away skiing and if you can make a raclette, it's really worth the endeavor. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you how much this machine costs. I had to go out and buy this machine, and I went to 3 different stores before I could actually find the machine. And I went to one very, you know, upscale place. They never even knew what raclette means. So, but I did find it, and it has a heating element here in the bottom. The top here will work as a grill, and you use the underside to melt the cheese. I'll show you how you do that. You would just take a piece of cheese. And again, normally, if you had a raclette machine, you would take the raclette machine and you would have it set up there and just let the cheese run off. But we're going to take, let me get a couple of these different cheeses going here. And by the way, you're supposed to use a raclette cheese, which you might have trouble finding. So if you can't find the raclette cheese, any good melting cheese will work well with this. I need to get one more of these going because, I like a lot of cheese. And it's especially good after a day of skiing when you have the cheese and the cheese just starts to melt, and you're going to see how great this looks. Then we'll set up our plate now. Set up our plate. Going to take a couple of potatoes here. And what I like to do with the potatoes is I actually like to take my potatoes and cut them down so that I can put the cheese right on top of them. I kind of cheat here a little bit. So I like to do that. Then I like to take a little bit of mustard. Right here, we're going to just put a little bit of mustard right there. Take our meats, a nice selection of meats. So we'll use a little bit of, I love this salami here. And especially usually the prosciutto, the dried beef is very popular with this too. A little bit of prosciutto there. Another type of salami right here. Okay. And here's our pork shoulder right here that's smoked, our coppa right there. How's our cheese doing? Our cheese is almost ready. Little piece of kielbasa right here. Oh, this is looking pretty good. Gonna bring my potatoes over here. How's our cheese doing? Oh, it's melting in. And the great thing about this is they give you a heat-proof spatula here because with your cheese, it's almost there. It's almost perfect. Just when it's just melted, I'll show you again. See how our cheese is almost starting to bubble here? This cheese is out of this world. And again, be careful because it is made from raw goat's milk. So, I mean raw cow's milk. So you want to be careful with that, especially with children. Okay, but that's what it's made from. So this is good. Oh, see this here? Perfect. Here's my raclette cheese right here. I'm just going to take a little bit of this. I like it right on top of my potatoes. And you just kind of cut into this with the hot cheese. And you have to do this while it's hot. I have another one right here. Going to take this. I like it over my meat as well. And again, remember, when you're skiing, you can do this raclette just like this. It's out of this world. Now, also, need a couple of pickles to go with this, a couple of cornichons. The other thing that is pretty standard with this would be a tossed salad. So I have some lettuce right here. The only thing I'm going to do with my lettuce, a little salt, little pepper, a little bit of olive oil right here, just a smidgen, and a splash here of lemon juice. Very simple salad with this. Then we'll just take this, toss this together. Beautiful. Very simple salad. You need a simple salad with this. And we'll just take a little bit of our salad right here. Beautiful. Oh, I feel like I'm skiing again. Because as I said in the beginning of the segment, we did go to a restaurant in Mont-Tremblant called Savoie, which is, as when I first had raclette, it was actually in the region of Savoie, France. It was out of this world. Very special, special meal. And I forgot to tell you, with the raclette machine here that I bought, it was under $100, right around $99. So you can find them out there, and it's really worthwhile to have, especially if you go skiing. But if you just even want to do a real Swiss-style dinner and make raclette, and you can get the cheese, and you'll love potatoes and meat, It's out of this world. We have to take a little break right now, and then when we come back, we have a chocolate fondue with a lot of different fruits that you want to make when you go away and make your ski dinner. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Ski Dinner today on Let's Cook. If you're just joining the show, I was away skiing. I was up in Quebec, and I went to a restaurant called Savoie. I've been there before. I've been to Savoie, France. Great food. Fondues. We did 2 fondues. Now it's time to do my 3rd fondue. I'm going to make a chocolate fondue to go with fresh fruit. I have the fresh fruit right here. It looks absolutely fantastic. We're using some nectarines, some peaches, some oranges, kiwi, bananas, pound bread or pound cake is very good with this too. Now to make the fondue sauce, I simply take heavy cream. I'm going to bring that heavy cream up to a boil. See how quickly it came up to a boil? It's at a nice boil now. All I'm going to do now, hit a little bit of Grand Marnier, your favorite liquor in there. Bring it back up to a boil. We now shut this off. Shut off your cream. Going to add some finely chopped chocolate, and all we're going to do is stir this around until the cream mixes with the chocolate and gets really smooth. Once it starts to get nice and smooth like this, a little bit of butter in there. And here's our chocolate fondue. Doesn't this look great? Oh, and I had this fondue when I was there. It's out of this world. Use a great chocolate when you do this. And again, you can make this and then you can reheat this too. Nice and slow. Use a double boiler. Just make sure that no steam gets into it because it'll cause it to seize. So here's my chocolate fondue. I just need a rubber spatula here. And I'm just going to put this into a bowl now. Oh, looks great, doesn't it? Oh, fantastic. Then we just take all of the chocolate, all of the goodness right here. And again, you can use whatever fruits are available. You know, as I mentioned before, whether you're using pears or nectarines or kiwis, any fresh fruit. Canned also works very well with this. If you're away, you're skiing somewhere, you go to the supermarket, they don't have a lot of fresh fruit, but they do have canned fruits. They work real well. Let me just show you how nicely this coats. So you're going to take one. Oh, whoops. Try not to lose it like I just did there. See how nice that coats it? Looks good. So we'll do a little nectarine on this one right here, and also a little bit of kiwi right here. I'll tell you, the Swiss had a great idea when they introduced fondues. So there we have a delicious chocolate fondue using a little bit of fresh fruit. And even if you run out of fondue forks, just take a little piece like I just did, dip it in chocolate, eat that too. Absolutely gorgeous. So, you know, you go away skiing, a lot of different foods. This whole week we did ski week where we did a breakfast, we did a lunch. This is our dinner. Let's review exactly what we made here because it's out of this world and it's such great food and so healthy as far as giving you energy, and it's rich. So, first thing we did is we did our cheese fondue here that we made with the Gruyere and Emmentaler cheese, a little bit of white wine, Kirsch. Secondly, we did our fondue bourguignon, which is where we took some chicken and some beef. We rolled it in some dressing, rolled it in breadcrumbs, deep fried it at the table, and then we served it with our different sauces right there. Also, cornichons, boiled potatoes, this all goes together with this. Then we did our raclette. Look at our raclette here because we have the different meats, the cured meats, and with the kielbasa we have the mustard, we have the raclette cheese again, which is the cow's milk cheese that's raw, the cornichons, the boiled potatoes, the tossed salad, and again mustard. You can also use dipping sauces with this. Oh, I'll tell you something. I'm not tired, I'm invigorated, because when you eat food like this and you're out there and you're skiing and you're going down the slopes, you come back, you've used up so much energy that you can eat some of this heavier food and still feel great the next day because you're going to get up, it's going to give you energy, because we need that energy. We want to stay away from the refined flours, doesn't give us as much energy. Go with the those things that are maybe a little bit higher in fat, higher in oil, are going to give us great energy. And again, you want your skiing trip to introduce maybe a few foods that you've never had before, or you might want to go to a region and try some of their local foods and make them for yourselves. Myself, personally, when I'm skiing, I stay away from the hamburgers. I stay away from the, hot dogs. I eat more fresh fruits, natural grains, and cured meat, and of course, cheese. It also goes good with just a little bit of beer, too, especially this meal, or a good glass of white wine. Thanks for watching Let's Cook, where we did our delicious ski dinner. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.